stars, but most importantly, the attack speed of all of these guys, including the Bloom Liquefier, is getting increased by a lot. So it went from 1 second to half a second on the Bloom Dissolver, and then from 0.75 to half second for the Liquefier. And let me just show you guys what is happening and how powerful this tower is. So I'm going to send it around 49, and this is just a 320 glue, which with the previous attack speed was absolutely not able to do this, but now you can see it actually soloing around 49, and it actually comes at a pretty cheap price given all these changes. So if you're a Bloom Solver enjoyer, then this is just going to make using this tower so much better. Now there have been a lot of changes to the sub, including the Ballistic Missile Millipede and also the sub Paragon. So let's start with the Ballistic Missile changes, where it got its damage increased by a decent amount. Actually it went from 1 to 3, but it also got a small pierce reduction from 60 to 40 to balance things out. So now this can serve as a cleanup tower, but the change that I'm most interested in is this Paragon change. So you guys know how everyone was using the sub Paragon, but no one actually cared to use the sub Paragon with its submerged variant. They actually only used the attacking and the dart component. Well, now Ninja Kiri is trying to crank down on that by making the submerged sub Paragon a lot stronger than it previously was. And I'm talking these changes are huge. So for example, the radiation damage got increased from 50 to 250. That's an insane change. That's 5-fold damage increase. They're also trying to make it a little bit weaker versus bosses, so the radiation fall damage got reduced by a little bit, but the bonus damage to ceramics got increased from 50 to 250 as well, and the attack cooldown or the pulse rate got increased as well. So this thing is a lot more powerful now when you keep it submerged. Alright, now let's talk about the second most overpowered tower from update 44, and let's see how they're trying to fix that in update 45. So Ninja Kiri obviously recognized that the aircraft carrier has been a lot stronger than it was supposed to, so now they're reducing its attack cooldown from 0.15 to 0.18 seconds on the darts attack, and the radial darts attack is also getting a small nerf from 1 second to 1.2 seconds per attack. So they're actually cracking down on this. There's a little bit of an interesting change happening to Kara Flagship, where its pierce is getting increased from 4 to 7, and I don't exactly know why this is happening, because when you take everything into account, is this a nerf or a buff in this tower? I don't know, we're gonna have to test it out. But a change that I absolutely love is the fact that the Monkey Pirate's cannon's bonus damage to Moabs got increased from 3 to 5, and then the Pirate Lord bonus damage to Moabs got increased from 5 to 10. So now this thing is getting even stronger than before because it's buffed the previous update as well. Alright, so we absolutely have to talk about the mortars because this is the change. It is absolutely insane. So let me break it down for you guys. What Ninja Kiri
Big One Gaming
across the board is they're trying to implement the burning stuff with the top and the middle pad crosspads a lot further. And now even though the big one got a little bit of a price bump from 6.5 to 7.2k, the damage over time across the top and the middle pad mortars is getting increased, and especially increased on the artillery battery and the popping out tier 5. So just take a look at the burning damage per tick onto the 0.52 popping out. This thing went from 5 to 18 damage per second, and the duration got increased from 3.75 to 7.5 seconds. So this duration got literally doubled. And if that wasn't enough, the popping out ability now also applies a DPS effect of 36 damage per second when activated. So yeah, a very nice variety into the popping out cross batting. So this is going to be a really interesting one to test out. Now this next one is a change that I can absolutely get behind, because the laser cannon now deals plus 2 damage versus what not a lot, perhaps a little bit more viable. But then a change that I absolutely love is the fact that the Radio Doom is now $75,000 and it used to be 80k. So that's a small, but I think it's going to be a significant decrease in price, especially in Prince mode. And talking about huge price decreases, look at this one. The Legend of the Night used to be $200,000, and now it's, well, this obviously specific number of 165, 650. I don't know what's with that number, but I do know that that is a $35,000 decrease on this one.
Sure. Let's make this quick.
For a little savings, Specialist Mill advising bulk. For a lot of savings, we bundled your home and auto insurance with USAA. Putting more money back in her pocket? That's what we're made for. Call for a
on this price, and that is just, I welcome this change with open hands. Now let's talk about the temples. The changelog for the Sun Temple is actually huge. This is how it looks like, and it is a lot of changes for you guys. So you guys know that with each different category of sacrifices, the temple gets stronger in different ways. And so the idea behind all these changes is the fact that all of these different sub-attacks are getting increased. And when I say that they're getting buffed, it's not a small buff. They are getting insanely stronger. So for example, the magic blasts got their damage literally doubled. The golden glaives that you guys see fly out got their damage literally increased 5-fold. And the golden blades got their pierce literally increased by 10 times, which is absolutely insane. Now to balance things out, the main attack got a little bit weaker. So for example, the pierce buffs that the temple is getting through the primary, the military sacrifices are actually getting reduced by a little bit, but these sub attacks are becoming so much stronger that the temple is now being actually a really interesting contender versus bosses. So it's going to be fun testing this one out as well. Now this is a change that I absolutely love because I picked up on this change a couple of updates ago when they started making it, and that's the fact that the shurikens do extra damage to stun towers by the flash bomb onto the ninja. Now what they're doing in this update is they're expanding this even further, so the pierce of the shurikens is getting increased, the bonus damage to stun balloons is getting increased, and this also carries over to the higher tiers, including the Master Bomber, which eventually ends at 19 bonus damage to stunned or sticky targets. On top of this, they're making the Ninja Paragon a lot stronger versus Camel Balloons, so now the bonus damage to Camel is getting increased from 6 to 16, the explosion is getting increased from 20 to 48, the bonus damage from Camel from the shurikens is getting increased from 16 to 40, and then there's this extra bonus damage like we mentioned with the Master Bomber in the bottom path, of which when there's a sticky or a stun target, the shurikens do extra damage, and this goes for the Paragon as well. So really interesting changes, and this Ninja Paragon is actually a lot stronger versus a boss like FaZe nowadays. Now this is a very small change, but I wanted to mention it because the Alchemist is a tower that is used by everyone, so the Berserker Brew is a little bit more expensive. The price went from $1,300 to $1,400, so only $100 increase, but they're making up for it by reducing the strongest stimulant from $29.50 to $28.50. So it's the same price, but the tier 3 is a little bit more expensive and the tier 4 is a little bit cheaper. So you guys know how I mentioned that Ninja Kiwi is now trying to put these underused crosspads into the hands of the casual players even further, and one of those towers is the Ball Lightning, which actually freezes balloons. And now this freeze duration got increased from 1.5 to 4.5 seconds, which is absolutely insane. The time in which these balloons are frozen now literally got tripled, so this is such a good stalling tower nowadays. But the Jungle's Bounty Druid got a substantial nerf. Now how is this gonna balance out? I'm not exactly sure, because now instead of spawning 2 vines, the Jungle's Bounty Druid spawns only 1 vine, similarly to the tier 3, but these vines last on the track a lot longer, so the duration got increased from 4.5 to 9 seconds, along with the fact that the Brambles can now pick up. How it's gonna impact the actual game, I am not exactly sure. We're gonna definitely be testing
Watch your blind
spots. Now, there have been a lot of Mermancy bounce changes, so let's start off with the top prospect with the first. The damage is now getting, and the tower damage of the
The pressure is on.
Let me get it.
Electric charge.
Okay. You really use it.
Out of my way!
Target confirmed. You don't have what it takes. Ready or not, here I come. Here's a taste of the abyss.
Up to 10 times. So let me upgrade all these guys.
Oh!
The abyss. Oh my god, that's huge. That's such a big buff.
Boats! Boats! The boats!
So yeah, this is definitely a fun change. Now let's talk about the third most broken tower of the previous update, which is the bottom path of Mermonkey. This thing was one of the absolute MVPs of the entire update, and it got changed as expected. So first off, the Alluring Melody's price actually got reduced by a little bit, by $800. It went from $2.8 to $2,000, but the Symphonic Resonance price went from, check this out, 4.6k 7.6. This thing is so much more expensive, and guys, it was an absolutely deserved nerf, and this was an OP tower, and I think it's still going to be used by players, but yeah, this was a very significant nerf to begin with. Now on the topic of the engineer, we have 2 very interesting changes happening. The first one is that the Ultra Boost is no longer limited to 3 uses per round. It is actually 10 uses per round, which is really interesting because this is going to be helpful in just getting those Ultra Boost tags as fast as possible on our most important towers. And then the Engineer's Paragon's numbers got a little bit reshuffled, so it's getting its attack cooldown increased.
I'll help you win. The lunch is on you.
Do it all with ad-free listening, song downloads, and more.
So at the same time, it's getting some of its damage increased threefold, so I'm not exactly sure how this is going to balance out in the end. But what I do know is that the Green Sentry finally, after all these years, got this targeting option where you can lock it in place and you don't have to worry about it. Guys, we are making so much progress, it's insane. Alright, now let's talk about heroes, starting with Captain Churchill. So Captain Churchill is actually getting a little bit of a buff into this update where his attack cooldown is getting improved, so he attacks a little bit faster, and more importantly, the level 5 and all the consecutive levels on the machine gun are now getting a lot of extra damage, going from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to literally double 2, 4, 6, and 8. So these changes are definitely going to make the machine gun a lot stronger, but how does it work with the cannon and the main attack? It remains to be seen if it's going to make any difference in comparison to the last update. Now there's another change that I want to talk to you guys about, and that is the solid change, which is the level 1 Pierce getting reduced from 4 to 3. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but I feel like this actually might be an impactful change for the hero going forward. And also there's this really cool change with her level 10 ability, the Sword Charge, where now instead of swiping once, it actually swipes twice once she reaches level 14. So there is swipe number 1 and there is swipe number 2, which is a cool new feature starting from update 45. And finally, Rosalia. So she is getting buffed by a lot actually in this update. So first off, her repositioning speed is getting increased from 0.7 to 1.5, which means that she's going to fly to the other spot very quickly actually. This is going to be nice in just having her migrate around and just being able to catch all these balloons a lot quicker. Now on top of this, the scatter missile's initial target ability got reduced by a lot actually. So previously, whenever you were to use the level 3 ability, you would need to wait 1 second before the missiles landed, and now that duration is reduced to 0.4 seconds, which is actually a huge improvement in the consistency of this ability. So that's really nice. Now the maximum damage and the pierce of her level 10 kinetic charge ability is getting increased by a lot as well. So the pierce went from 100 to 500, and the max additional damage went from 12 to 4,500 at the level 10 and then 12,000 on the level 21. On top of this, you got a lot of extra power into both of her attacks, which means you got their pierce
Sure.
to 5
A little gift for you.
level 12, so it's
Preparing takedown.
a lot more bonus damage.
Target confirmed. You don't have what it is. Coming in. No problem.
Sure.
Copy that.
This is everything you guys need to know about Update 45 in Bloons DD6. The main feature of the update is a brand new boss called Blast the Populace, the Demon of the Core, which is a returning boss from previous Bloons games. While Blast the Populace is on screen,
Emma, you dropping in?
As soon as I finish my food on the side.
You're bulletproof? He's bulletproof. How do you know he's bulletproof? Yeah, but that's just 9mm. Everybody's bulletproof to 9mm. That's a 357 Magnum. Okay, I get it. He's bulletproof up to 45 caliber. Stop shooting him. I get your point that he is bulletproof. Where did you even find a functioning flintlock? Here's a question. What do you want me to do? I'm a medic, not a sorcerer. I can't just sacrifice an NPC to cure his condition. You're gonna run out of calibers eventually. What if you didn't use bullets? What if you just punched him in the face really, really haymaker hard? Alright, that'll be $87,423.18, and you can leave me a tip right on this tablet. Your bullet?
Straight femboys, girls who like femboys, waiting for the other to make the first move.
Compagnie di calciatori genti che si vedono